Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 83 of the road to 2K on chess.com. Today we're staying at 1912, so we're going to go ahead, jump in, play our 10-minute game for the day. It looks like we're getting a 1935 from the Philippines or Indonesia. All right, so our opponent goes d4. So we're going to play d5. We get a Queen's Gambit, so I'm going to play the Albin counter gambit today. Today's game, I didn't do as much warm-up as I normally do, so we're just going to kind of go into it, see what happens. Lots of different lines our opponent can play here. Our opponent goes with the main line, which is knight to f3. So we're going to play knight to c6, trying to help win our pawn back. We're always looking at moves like, bishop to b4 check. And g3 is a line I don't see as often anymore. It does, it's theoretically sound. It's not an uncommon move by any stretch. Let's play queen to d7. And then we'll long castle. Trying to win this pawn back. The one thing I do need to be a little bit careful of is getting my queen and king skewered on this diagonal. So something we'll be mindful of, but we should be able to avoid. And we get bishop to f4. Now bishop to f4 is just very clearly designed to hold on to this tightly. And a couple things we can do here. Obviously, there's two attackers here. There's not an easy way to add an attacker yet. I could push. I could play h5, h4, maybe if I go knight e, I could run into some issues, so I'm just going to go ahead and play h5. We're opposite side castled. Going to try and push a little bit. See what our opponent wants to do. h4 comes out, which I didn't fully expect. I might play king to b8 just now, so it's done. To get my king off of this diagonal to avoid the nonsense with the queen becoming pinned. I'm going to play f6 to try and get my knight into the game. And that helps us to develop a little bit. b4 comes in. We do have to be a little careful here so we don't just get slaughtered. But I don't think the attack is here yet. So I'm going to play bishop to d6. And my whole point is I'm just trading off pieces. And it's a lot more difficult for our opponent to actually attack us if they don't have material on the board. And c5 comes in, attacking my queen. We'll just draw it back, queen d7. Our opponent can obviously play b5. In here, I kind of like to move knight to a5. I think our opponent might just go ahead and push c6. At which point I'll play b takes, pawn takes, knight takes, and leave my king a little bit exposed, but I actually think they're doing okay here. Our opponent does have queen to b3 check. And they opt to go knight b to d2. And the idea here might just be to help them get to this file. I don't want to go to a8 because then I open up ideas with this pin. So I'm actually going to play bishop to h3, trying to weaken this diagonal a little bit. Obviously, our opponent can come over. If they go check, I'm just going to go queen to c8. Or king to c8. I expect queen to b3 is their move, and they opt to go queen to a4, which I did not expect. But everything's held. Oh man, how do I want to try and do this? Do I have enough time? If I go here, I could trade down, I lose a pawn. I could go queen up. This pins the knight, defends here, opens this square for my king. It doesn't feel like a bad move. It's not a great move. But I have to place a move to not get kind of bulldozed in this position. The opening has obviously not gone as well as we would have hoped. But that's just how these things go. If I move this knight, this pawn hangs. I could play queen here. Let's do that. Queen a5. Let's try and reduce as much tension as we can here. Oh, I hung that. That's not good. Oh, that's really not good. Oh, that's extra bad. I think we're just lost. Do I have anything left? This is a threat. This is a threat. Yeah, this isn't as much a threat as it looks. If I go rook up here. Oh, I hung this too. And you know what? These days happen. So we're just going to go ahead. Let's look at the game review. We'll call it a day. Our opponent played at the 73.7. We played with a 58.5. After d4, d5, c4, and e5, we have an Albin counter gambit. Now, these lines are very, very sharp. I really probably should be reviewing the theory more often if I'm going to play these. But d captures e5, d4, knight f3, knight c6, and g3. The reason I was saying I think this is one of the moves is I believe we also have moves like a3, and I think even here our opponent can play e3. It says it's inaccurate, but I believe it's still one of the moves. After g3, bishop g4, bishop g2, and queen to d7, we actually still got into a theoretical position where I think we've had this position on the board in one of our previous games on the series. Now, bishop f4, we played h5. And I was considering slightly the move bishop to h3. I was considering the move f6. And I don't know what it actually wanted me to do here. I guess I could probably push ahead with d3. Could also play h6 to try and prepare g5. So tons of ideas here. But instead I played h5 to try and create that opposite side pawn push. Now, after h4, king to b8, a3, and f6, we get into a position where I'm trying to create some form of an attack here on the king side. So e captures f6, and I went knight captures f6. What would have been slightly better is g captures f6, and I think the reason this is if I develop my pieces, then I have this open g file that I can use to try and attack the king. But instead, our opponent goes b4, we go bishop to d6, we trade down some more material, and c5 comes in. So I went back to c7. I probably should have considered being a little bit more active with the queen, like queen to d5, or maybe even a move like queen to e6. But I went right back to our square, where the only thing we're doing is really having this scope down on the h3 square. After b5, knight a5, c6, and b captures c6. This was wrong. We took very little time to do this. What we probably had to do here, now I'm looking at it, is maybe a move like queen to d5, which defends the pawn via x-ray defense. And we are, being mindful that our opponent can now move this knight with a discovered attack on our queen. But b captures c, b captures, and knight captures, and we've opened up our own king, which kind of became the demise of our position. And after knight b to d2, bishop h3, rook b1, king c8, and queen a4, we're under a lot of danger. We're under a lot of threats here. So I opted to trade off their bishop. Here there's mate in 1 with queen a6, which our opponent missed. We also missed. So we went queen to d5, rook f to c1, and queen a5, which unfortunately just hangs a full knight. And after rook d6, queen a8, we hung him to rook. Yeah, these days we're just playing bad happen. And like I've told you guys in the past, the first game I sit down to record is the one I post. So here we are. If you have comments on how I played or how I can improve, leave it down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. And then finally, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. And that just helps you make sure that you don't miss any of my future content. And on that note, I will see you guys on the next episode.